Leila Ortega had never paid much attention to Wikipedia. At 17, her life was consumed with skateboarding, late-night phone calls with friends, and the small joys of ordinary teenage life. But that rainy evening, curiosity got the better of her. Her friend Max had dared her to type her name into the search bar, just to see what would come up. She laughed nervously at the thought, fingers hovering over the keyboard. As she pressed enter, her heart skipped a beat. There it was. A page she had never created, or at least, never remembered creating. The title read simply, Leila Ortega. Her eyes widened as she scanned the content, a biography that was unsettlingly detailed, listing hobbies, personal likes, and habits she had never shared online. And then it happened. The words began to change. New sentences appeared, and old ones disappeared in a rhythm that felt alive, almost deliberate. Leila leaned closer, mesmerized and terrified, feeling as if someone, or something, was watching her reactions from the other side of the screen. Her hands shook as she typed and retyped, trying to close the page, but it resisted. It felt as though the page had a consciousness of its own, waiting for her to understand the warning hidden in plain sight. As the night deepened and rain drummed harder against the window, Leila could hardly breathe. She was frozen, staring at the page as new words formed with every passing second. Leila will disappear soon. Her pulse thundered in her ears, and she slammed the laptop shut, hoping it was some kind of sick joke. But the laptop pinged immediately after, a notification glowing in the dark. The edit was live, anonymous, and sinister. The words now read, "Tonight, she won't be found." Panic surged, and she grabbed her phone to call Maximum. The line went straight to voicemail, and a chill crawled up her spine. The room around her felt smaller, the shadows longer, as if they were stretching toward her. The ordinary hum of electricity from her computer now sounded like a whisper, a low growl from some unseen presence. Every flicker of the laptop screen felt like a heartbeat, pulsing in sync with the terror tightening around her chest. She realized, too late, that someone, or something, was not only watching her, it knew her. Morning brought no relief. The Wikipedia page had grown longer, now filled with details that made her stomach turn. It listed her daily routines, the cafe she visited after school, and even described a small scar on her left hand, one no one else had ever noticed. Leila attempted to delete the page, but it refused to vanish, stubbornly rewriting itself every time she refreshed. Desperate, she brought her laptop to Max, hoping together they could find some rational explanation. Max frowned, reading the words aloud, his voice dropping into a whisper. "Leila, it's like it knows you." Even saying it out loud made her skin crawl. The page was no longer just information, it was prediction. She will spill coffee at noon. Her hands trembled as the clock ticked closer to 12, every passing second a countdown she could feel in her bones. She realized with sinking horror that the page wasn't just about her past, it was shaping her present, and possibly her future. Night fell again, heavy and oppressive, and Leila could barely bring herself to look in the bedroom mirror. But when she did, her blood ran cold. For a heartbeat, her reflection didn't mimic her movements. Instead, it smiled, a slow, deliberate grin she had never made. The mouth moved, whispering silently, as though trying to speak through her own face. She tore her eyes from the mirror and turned to the laptop, only to find a new line had appeared on the page. "She saw me." The room felt smaller, the shadows pressing closer, almost breathing against her skin. Max had insisted she stay at his house, but even there, the pull of the page was strong. It was as if the Wikipedia page had reached through the screen and into the air itself, manipulating reality, reminding her that no safe place existed. Her reflection in every shiny surface, the flicker of lights, even the sway of the curtains, everything seemed to echo the presence of whatever was behind the edits. By Friday, terror had become relentless. The Wikipedia page now listed her home address and even her exact movements for the next 3 hours. Leila's stomach churned as the realization settled in. She wasn't being followed by a human, she was being tracked by something that could see her every action before it happened. She tried to escape, driving aimlessly, but the car refused to start, her phone displayed only the live page, and each attempt to leave the house was blocked by some unseen force. She and Max decided to bring the laptop to the school library, hoping to trace the edits through the network to understand what they were dealing with. But the page changed instantly. They are already inside the library. The shadows between the shelves shifted, a presence moving just beyond their vision. They were not alone. And whatever was editing the page was no longer content with observation, it was hunting. The library was oppressive, the fluorescent lights flickering in random, uneasy patterns. A shadow moved between the shelves, impossibly dark, taller than any human, absorbing the light around it. Leila's breath caught in her throat. Max tried to grab her, but she felt paralyzed, unable to move. The Wikipedia page typed itself in real time. I am here because you exist. Every word seemed to curl around her mind like smoke, suffocating her with dread. The shadow leaned closer, its edges flickering like corrupted video, impossible to focus on. Then, in the text on the screen, words rearranged themselves into a command she could feel rather than read: delete yourself. Leila slammed the laptop shut, and the glow seeped into the room, casting long, twitching shadows across the walls. The darkness seemed alive, hungry, and patient. The morning after was eerily quiet. Max arrived at Leila's house, heart pounding, only to find the place empty. No note, no sign of struggle, nothing except her laptop lying open on the floor. The screen displayed a single line: Leila Ortega has been removed. Max tried to shut the page, but the letters twisted and reformed. Others will follow. They watch, they write, they decide. The wind outside carried a faint, almost imperceptible sound of typing, as though the edits were continuing on some invisible plane. Max realized then that the Wikipedia page hadn't been predicting events, it had been shaping reality itself. And the quiet realization chilled him to the bone. This was only the beginning, and no one who ever looked themselves up online would ever be safe again.